Well, we took her in, they did lab work. That came back abnormal. So they said, she's probably fighting off a virus. Took her back in for follow-up labs. The numbers were even worse this time. They felt like, she was still fighting something off, but I knew, my gut told me something was wrong. And so I asked for a second opinion to the Children's Hospital in San Francisco. And they sent us to the rheumatologist, thinking maybe she just had an infection in her joints or something. As we were leaving, Bailey mentioned, oh, I feel a little short of breath. So the doctor says, well, let's get a chest x-ray just to, make sure. And we got the chest x-ray, and on our way out, they called us and said, we see something, come back.
What I'm dealing with is called Hodgkin's lymphoma, and it's a blood cancer.
The moment I realized something was going on with his health was a week and a half before he was initially diagnosed, so we caught it really quick. The initial day I took him to the emergency room, he said, Mom, I feel like my body's sick. And I was like, yeah, I'm taking you to see what's going on. We're gonna find out.
I get a phone call from school saying he fell at field day. They did his x-rays. They called me out the room. So I'm looking at the screen, and to me, it looked like a cloud was in his leg. This doesn't look right, what's going on? And she was like, I'm no specialist, but to me, it looks like either leukemia or primary bone cancer. And from there, it's just like, what?
When we first realized that something was going on with Zoe, we noticed there was a little bump in the back of her thigh, so we decided to take her to the emergency room. We didn't leave the emergency room for 3 days, just running a whole bunch of tests to find out what was going on. And that is when they broke the news down to us and found a cancerous tumor in her thigh.
Natalie was diagnosed with stage 4 high-risk neuroblastoma when she was 2 years old. She went through a 1.5 years of treatment and then was clear of no evidence of disease, of cancer. And then she continued a trial. She finished the trial, and then 8 weeks later, she relapsed and did a year more of treatment, and then she passed away about 8 months ago.
I was the first one to notice that something was off. It was a Saturday morning, and I went in her room to change her diaper, and in the midst of changing her diaper, I noticed that she had a really weird odor, and that's when I knew that something was wrong, that wasn't right, so we ended up taking her to the doctor. My reaction was immediate, just defeat, because in my mind, it was death. It was a death sentence. We're all gonna die, but in my mind, I was thinking, I'm gonna bury my child. And so having to call my parents that day and tell them that, that was not believing the words that are coming out of your own mouth.
Before I got cancer, I could run around, I could go on bikes all the time, but when I got cancer, that all slowed down and almost came to a stop, because half the time that I was awake, I would be sick, and my stomach would hurt. When I was cancer-free and I was on my bike, I don't know if you remember this, I was so happy because I could ride my bike, and we would always do races with our bikes, and I was I won the race again. It really affects what you're able to do, and I don't know, it's tough.
I didn't think anything was wrong. I was still going to school, I thought I was being normal, and then she forced me to go to the doctors.
Everything changed, from going from 2 arms to 1 arm. It just made me work even harder to get back to where I was, and then just keep pushing and keep going.
When I had cancer, it was very hard because I would just be at the hospital a whole week. At first, I was telling my parents, I don't like this because people are looking at me weird. people are just making fun of me. And I didn't like that. So my dad and my mom, they were telling me just ignore them. You look beautiful with and without hair. Before I knew I had cancer, I had lots of friends in school. And then when I went to my brother's school and I was with my mom, my class, they saw me in the wheelchair and they were just laughing through the door, and because they saw me and they were just laughing at me and laughing at me. So I was telling my mom, I just want to leave now. I don't even want to be here.